Welcome to Real Life. Real lessons in emotional healing and freedom. Hi, I'm your host, Helen Nachintu, a holistic guide, intuitive calibrator reflector, and fellow traveler on this path of soul remembrance and inner alchemy. This podcast is a sacred space to remember who you are beneath the noise and reclaim your power through presence, softness, and soul truth. Each episode is an invitation to rise, not by force, but by frequency. Join me as we anchor in the love energy together. Welcome to another episode of Real Life. That's real lessons in emotional healing and freedom. Today's episode is all about the art of energy protection and transmuting negative energy into light. Now, why have I decided to do this podcast? As I am recording this right now, we are just coming towards the end of the Mercury retrograde before we actually enter its 2-week ending shadow. The energies recently have been so incredibly intense that it seems to have made people a little bit edgy, shall we say, sending each other negative energies without actually realizing that this is what we are doing. So, just to help out my wonderful community, I decided, hey, let's do a podcast on this. So, welcome, beautiful souls, to yet another Real Life podcast episode. I'm your host, Helen, and today we're diving into something that all of us, whether we realize it or not, experience in our daily lives. The energy we absorb from others and the energy that we send out without realizing it. We live in an energetic universe. This is really, really important to recognize and acknowledge. And every thought, every word, every emotion carries a frequency. And those frequencies travel through the spaces between us, through the conversations that we have, through our attention, even through our silence. Today, I want to help you understand why it is so important to protect your own energy. How people often project negativity unknowingly, and how to transmute it into something luminous and healing for everyone involved. Okay, so why do we need to protect our energy? Think of your energy field as a beautiful living aura, a dynamic expression of who you are. It's made of light, of memory, of emotion, and of everything you have ever experienced in your life. When your field is clear, you naturally feel aligned. You make decisions easily. You feel more grounded, more peaceful, and so much more confident. But over a period of time, that clarity can get muddled up. Not because you've done anything wrong, but because we are constantly interacting with other people's energetic expressions. Every time you walk into a room, every time you scroll through your social media, have a conversation, or even when you think about someone, an energetic exchange naturally takes place. Now, most of us don't realize how porous our fields actually are. Energy doesn't just stop at the edge of our skin, it flows. When someone is speaking about you with love, that energy arrives as warmth. But when someone is speaking about you in a judgmental or envious way, or say you have a misunderstanding, even if they do it behind your back, that energy carries a completely different vibration. And if your field is open, sensitive, and empathic, as many light workers and reflectors like myself actually are, you can feel every energy that is being sent to you. You might suddenly feel anxious for no reason, or heavy in your chest, or even doubtful of yourself. That is the energy in motion. That is resonance. Their frequency brushing against your own. So, protecting your energy isn't about building walls. It's about building filters, loving, conscious filters that allow through only what is true and nourishing, while transmuting everything else back to light. Let's take a look at some of the ways that people send negative energy without realizing it. And I know that I have already touched on this, but let's take a little bit of a deeper dive by way of some examples here. I want to highlight something important that most people do not set out to actually send us negative energy. It's really important to understand this. Most people do it absolutely nonchalantly and without really knowing that this is what they're doing. And I feel this is one of the reasons why it's so important to talk about this as a subject matter, so that if you are one of these people and you are listening to this podcast right now, then do listen carefully to what I'm about to say. So, most people do not set out to send us negative energy. They are not consciously saying things like, I want to harm that person. In fact, the majority of energetic interference happens unconsciously through unhealed emotions, through unchecked thoughts, and through careless words. For example, when someone feels jealousy and compares their life to yours, that emotional frequency sends a subtle energetic ripple towards you. I know this for sure because I have had many people in my life do this to me. When someone gossips or criticizes, even lightly, that vibration moves like a current, not because they're evil, but because energy follows attention. This can be friends, this can be family members, this can be colleagues, this can be from anyone that gossips or criticizes you. Now, I want you to take a moment just to think through, are you this person? Have you recently gossiped about somebody? Have you recently criticized somebody for the way that they are choosing to dress, the way they choose to speak, the way they choose to just generally live their lives? Take a moment to think that through and think about how you can reframe your approach to that person in all of those areas I have just mentioned. And speaking of reframing, we're coming to that. I will show you how you are able to reframe all of this. Now, when someone obsesses over your life, even through social media, constantly watching but not engaging with good intent, they also create energetic cords, and sometimes it's even subtler. If someone worries about you excessively, their energy can actually weigh on your field. It's well intentioned, but it's still a projection. And sometimes it's us that are doing this. We might unknowingly send negative energy by talking about someone when we're upset, or making assumptions about their path, as I mentioned earlier, or wishing things were different for them. Just know that each of these moments is an energetic offering, and every offering returns to its source in time. So be very mindful about what you are saying about other people, because all of that energy will be returned to you in some form or another. So we now begin to realize it's not just about protecting ourselves from others. It's about taking responsibility for the energy that we send out as well. Now, remember when I talked about reframing? Yes. Let's look at how to reframe the energy you actually send. When we notice ourselves slipping into judgment, irritation, or comparison, that's a sacred signal, an invitation for us just to take a pause. Instead of letting that energy move toward unconsciously outwards, we can transmute it right there and then, just by taking that pause. And listen, here's how we do this. First of all, you have to have an awareness of what it is you are doing and what is happening. The moment you feel that inner tightening, that desire to vent or criticize, just breathe. Recognize it as energy asking for direction. We've all been there. None of us are saints and angels in that form. And I'm sure you can totally relate to what I am saying. Okay, Secondly, this is how we reframe the energy that we send out to others. The second thing you need to be aware of is compassion. Ask yourself, what is this really about? Now, often we judge someone else. When we're doing this, we're actually touching on our own insecurity or our own unmet needs without realizing this is what we're doing. Bringing compassion to that part of ourselves neutralizes the change. Thirdly, we reframe. Replace the judgment with an honoring. Think of ways that you can reframe your thoughts, your energy, emotion towards that person. Instead of, I can't believe they did that, say to yourself silently or even out loud, may they find peace and clarity on their path. By honoring their path, you have just shifted the frequency from separation to unity. This doesn't mean tolerating harmful behavior or pretending everything is fine. It means choosing not to multiply harm through energetic echo. Every time you reframe negative energy into understanding, you become an alchemist and beacon of light. How do we reframe the energy that you receive? Now, okay, that's a very interesting question in terms of what to do about the energy that comes towards you. You can't always control what others project, but you can absolutely decide what enters your field. When you feel that heaviness, maybe you wake up anxious, or you feel unseen, or you pick up on tension after interacting with someone. Try this gentle process. Number 1, acknowledge it. Don't suppress it or pretend it's not there. Instead, say this: I sense some energy that isn't mine. Just that recognition alone separates your vibration from theirs. Number 2, return to your center. Visualize a beam of light flowing from the crown of your head to the center of the earth. Feel your breath as an anchor. Number 3, introduce the filter. Imagine a luminous crystal ball between you and that person. Clear, radiant, spinning with white and silver light. Allow that crystal ball to capture any unbenevolent energy that is directed towards you. See it purifying that energy, neutralizing it, and returning it to them for their own reflection and healing. Number 4, bliss and release. Or you can honor and release. Whisper softly in your heart. May they awaken to their own truth. May I remain free in mine. Number 5, reclaim your own energy. Call back all of your power. Any energy you've given away through worry, anger, or reaction. See it streaming back through the crystal ball, cleansed, cleared, and luminous. This is energetic hygiene. It is like washing your spirit after a long day. It doesn't require confrontation or any form of drama. It's simply alignment, keeping your energy sovereign, loving, and clear. I have actually prepared a crystal ball guided meditation for your own protection. If you wish to go and check this out, it is actually within the Venus Health community, and you will find a link to wherever you find this video or audio. Okay, let's take a look at why we should never send back negative energy to anybody that sends it to us. Honestly, it is so tempting, isn't it, to just send that energy straight back. When we feel somebody's negative energy towards us, we might think, you know what? I don't need this, so I'll just send it right back to them. But here's the truth. Energy is circular. Whatever frequency you emit, even if it's justified, eventually returns back to your field. When you send back negative energy, you keep that energy in motion around you. But when you transmute it, you dissolve that energy. You break the cycle of energetic ping pong that drains both souls. The universe is a mirror. This is something that we often forget. This is something that I am inviting you to remember. When you choose neutrality, compassion, or forgiveness instead of retaliation, you become the still point in the storm, otherwise often referred to as the calm in the storm. By doing this, you actually stop the karmic loop. And that's where true mastery begins. Not in fighting energy, but in understanding it. Transmutation is not weakness. It's your superpower. It's the quiet, crystalline strength of someone who knows who they are and no longer allows distorted frequencies to define them. The beauty of transmutation, Yes, there is absolute beauty in transmutation. So, as we close this podcast out for today, I want you to take a deep breath in with me. Inhale and exhale now. Remember, every word you speak, every thought you hold, every emotion you send, it really does matter. All of it matters. You are a transmitter of energy and also a receiver of energy. I invite you to remember that. I'm going to say it again. Remember, you are a transmitter of energy and a receiver of energy. Energy works both ways. When you become conscious of that exchange, you rise into energetic maturity. You stop taking things personally because you understand that most energy is simply unconscious motion. You stop fearing negativity because you know you can and you do have the ability to alchemize it. You stop needing protection from others because your own protection, your own light is your protection that you are actually seeking from others. So, in other words, the more you seek protection from others, the more you are weakening your energy field, and the more you are saying to yourself, you are unable to hold your light. You are unable to give yourself the protection that you are seeking. Do not disempower yourself like this. We all have the ability to protect ourselves. Maybe you just don't know how to do this. And so in that situation, it's okay to seek the guidance. But do not continuously ask people to pray for you. This weakens your field. So, instead of sending negative energy back and forth, let's elevate the entire field. Let's acknowledge how powerful we are. Let's remember to stand in our power. Let's remember to stand in our own light. Let's remember to stand in our divinity. And let's elevate the planet. Let's become the kind of souls who meet shadow with light, who meet gossip with grace, who meet protection with peace. Because when you choose to transmute and not to retaliate, you become a loving crystal in the world. You hold clarity where others hold confusion. And your presence by itself becomes healing for everyone who meets you. Thank you, dear ones, for joining me today. And I hope that you enjoyed this podcast. And if this message resonated, share it with someone who might need a reminder of their own power to transmute and protect their energy. And remember, your light is not fragile. It is eternal. Your light is infinite and deeply sovereign. Until next time, stay radiant, stay kind, shine your light anchored in your truth, in your power, and continue to walk in benevolence. Thank you for tuning in to Real Life. If today's episode helped you soften, center, or see things more clearly, please share it with someone walking their own path of emotional healing. Connect with me on Instagram @life or visit life.com to explore deeper offerings, healing sessions, and soul tools. And remember, you do not have to match the energy of the world to change it. You were born to anchor in love. Until next time, stay sovereign, stay anchored in love, and remember to tune into real life.